Yo, what's up? We're back on the pod. This is number 3, baby. Oh my god.
I don't know. Are these the best? Is this just like cutting out the fat? What is this?
No. So it's definitely cutting out the fat because so we watched Avatar together multiple times now. And the last time we watched it together, we were like, okay, there's some episodes that like we can skip because either they don't add that much, they're clearly filler, or like they're good, but you don't want to watch them. You know,
You don't need to. You don't need to see episode 1 every time. Every time
yeah,
you watch through,
yeah. And I mean,
you
like,
get it.
there's we'll allude to what I said about like they're good, but you don't want to watch it as we move through. Um, but in this conversation, which Nick has graciously allowed me to be a part of here, is I'm going to talk with Nick about the episodes that we think are the ones that are important to watch of Avatar: The Last Airbender, because literally just one of the most amazing shows ever done. Doesn't matter if you're a kid or an adult. I've watched this show now at least 8 times, and it's been fucking amazing every time. But we're going to talk about the episodes that we think are the most important. But I'm also going to bitch about some stuff because that's just who I am, and that's just what's going to happen. So you guys are going to be entertained by the fact that I dislike people in the show or moments in the show, and I'm going to complain about them. Katara. First episode that I have written down as one that we needed to watch is episode 4 of season 1, which is The Warriors of Kyoshi. If we go back to the other 3 episodes, obviously Boy in the Iceberg is the first one. You get introduced to all the characters and whatnot, and these are for people that have watched the show before. All right, if you've never watched the show, like, you got to watch all of the episodes. That's just how it works. But fair. if you've watched the show, then like here's like some ones that you can kind of skip. So the first 3 episodes you can kind of skip because first episode you get introduced to Aang and he's whatever, and you meet Katara and Sokka, and Sokka's misogynist, and and
Katara already sucks.
And Katara is whatever, and you meet Zuko and Iroh for the first time, and it's all
Zuko
like
here.
Zuko here. But there's one episode in those first 3 that you specifically want to skip because of how bad Katara is, but you don't realize how bad she is in the moment. But then when you watch the whole show again, you're like, oh, she sucks.
For our 12 listeners, this is a common theme. Just forewarning you.
Oh, that's gonna be my major point of the night. But episode 3, they go to the Southern Air Temple, and Aang finds out that Monkey Gyatso and his entire race has died, specifically being murdered by the Fire Nation, right? And he loses his cool, understandably, goes into the Avatar state, and Katara is all like, hey, like, let's calm down, and like grabs his hand and like pulls him into a hug, and Aang cries while he's in the Avatar state, and it's very moving and all this stuff. But she like is like, oh, later she's like, I hate seeing you like that and whatever. And it's like, okay, we'll touch on why that sucked later on, but like just retain this information of like why you can skip that episode, because it's like it sends me over the edge every time I watch it. Cool. So those are our first 3. The one that we told you to watch first is the Warriors of Kyoshi. So this episode, at least in my opinion, why it's important to watch, you get introduced to one of the main characters that is an absolute badass, which is Suki, and B, is like the first time that we're like the first 3 episodes, Sokka's like a misogynistic douchebag, and you're like, okay, cool, like don't love this vibe for you, but like I can see why we have this comic relief and whatever because it plays into Turbo Dudes. But you see him get schooled by Suki, and she's like, haha, you fucking suck, you loser. I can beat your ass so easily.
And he's like, whoa, competent women? Ooh. Me likey.
And he's like, oh, maybe I'm not the best person on the planet of the Earth, and maybe women are actually good and whatnot. And so it's like, okay, like this is like a good turning point, and you start to see the seeds of motion for Sokka's character arc development at this point. So amazing episode to watch. Also, just like really cool to see the Unagi, and like you can see the Kyoshi Warriors take down like an entire Fire Nation like group, like platoon, which is super badass and cool. Do you have anything to add? I'm just like fucking word vomiting right now, bro. Like,
no, I love it. All I could think of was how much of a sexual awakening Suki was for me.
For you?
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. I love that.
Fucking her and who's the blonde chick on Jimmy Neutron? She was. What was her name?
Cindy.
Oh, oof. That's rough. Never mind.
Oedipus over here.
The name just ruined it. But that vibe, that was my shit as a kid. So.
I mean, Suki's fair. For sure. Season 3 Zuko peak over here.
Fair.
Which we can get to. Also, Jet. Douchebag of a person, but like appearance.
Okay, sure. Just the appearance, though.
Yes, not him. Anything else?
God, yeah, that would have made me sad.
No, oh yeah, I'm into those. I just love sociopaths, bro.
I love eco-terrorists.
Okay, so next episode that we had listed down. Correct me if I'm ever wrong in any of these, but the next one I have is King of Omashu, which is episode 5.
I think we wrote the list together. I'm pretty sure we're on the same, but I'm monitoring mine as we go. Something I noticed is that we didn't have episode 1 of any season. Interestingly enough. But yes, episode 5 of season 1 is the next one that I have.
Okay, yeah. I mean, this gets introduced possibly one of the greatest characters, which I will never forgive the live action show for just ruining this character. Like, ruining this character. Because the character is King Boomy, and he is just amazing. Just completely unhinged as a person in the best ways possible. And you're like, this person is so fucking great. Because he's just like, one of his best lines he gets introduced, and then Aang's like, let us leave. And he's like, let us leave? And then he starts munching on a piece of lettuce. Like, that's fucking amazing, you know? Like, and he follows that by saying, he's like, oh, put them in the good chamber that was once bad. Like, it's so great. Like, so whimsical and quirky and fun. But, like, also just, like, gives Aang a bunch of lessons and, like, helps him grow as a person, makes him think outside of the box. Like, all those things are so amazing. And you see Aang have to, like, actually be challenged as an avatar for the first time in this, because, like, he's having to save his friends, and he's having to, like, solve problems to save his friends in a way that he hasn't had to do before. So, A+ episode. A+ character that you get to meet. Just all around, it's great. So
I feel like this is also what you or I would do if we were in this situation. If one of us was frozen in an iceberg for like 100 years. This is exactly like, let us leave.
I mean, dude, if you just showed up and you looked the same, but I was 110 years old.
Yeah, what if I would
like,
look the same as we met?
I'm,
The same day we met.
Yeah, I'm fucking ready to just like
troll this piece of shit.
Fuck out of you,
Could
it? I just like throw those things in there. Yeah, like,
yeah.
You're just sitting down for the meal that I'm throwing. Throw them a feast. Could it? Could it?
She's a good girl. Okay. We skipped imprisoned, right?
Yes.
Because, I don't know, fuck Haru. Not even fuck Haru. Just kind of...
Okay, more or less it's really fuck Katara, because, like...
A common theme.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't, but you do you.
I'm just going to put this in here early. I'm not going to hold on to this. Every character in the show grows as a character, becomes better versions of themselves, besides Katara. The worst all the way through. Like, at no moment does she actually grow as a person or a character. Ever. Not once.
But what about when she almost fell in love with Zuko and then he betrayed her? Gross.
But she didn't change anything about herself.
Not at all.
Then he just shows up and she's like, if you hurt Aang, I won't hesitate to end you permanently. Which she was ready to do anyway. Okay. The thing is, like, the whole episode is about her empowering these earth-bending prisoners to, like, revolt and escape from prison. But, like, granted, yes. Haru, good guy, decent character. You don't really get introduced to him all that much. So, like, he shows up later with a mustache. It's like, okay, cool. So, like, you don't really need that much from him, okay?
Whose mustache is better, Spencer or Haru?
Spencer, it's not even close, bro. That's fucking crazy, dude. Like, Spencer and I dressed as Freddie Mercury. It was like, you can tell that I have a mustache right now.
Oh, you have a mustache right now?
Okay. Hey.
Between the lines.
Hey. But, like, standing next to Spencer is like, I'm Freddie Mercury. Spencer's Freddie Mercury. Spencer's clearly the one that actually looks like Freddie Mercury.
It's Freddie, yeah. Especially with the wife beater on, like,
yeah.
He nailed that shit.
Okay. So then we move past Imprisoned, and then we're watching the Winter Solstice and the Spirit World. So this is like we meet Hey Bye, right? That's this episode. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, because he turns into the panda.
Yeah, which is Hey Bye.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we meet Hey Bye, and Aang, and as viewers, we get exposed to the spirit world really for the first time.
That's true.
So, kind of an important piece for you to be watching this show. Even as somebody that's watched it before, you're like, okay, I know what the spirit world is, but it's like, all right. Well, you also get to meet Roku and his dragon, which is fucking sick. So,
I don't know for sure, but it'd be an interesting thing to keep track of while we go through this. But this episode includes Iroh, and I have a feeling we didn't cut out Iroh except when there was sad Iroh, like very sad Iroh.
Well, beginning of the first, because like we were introduced to Zuko and Iroh in like episode 2, maybe.
Sure, I guess that's fair, but that's very introductory, very
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
surface level.
mean, great call out, Iroh, A+ character. Yes, like
Because he gets captured this episode too.
Good call. And we see Iroh is like because like all the lead up that we've seen so far of Iroh is he's just like kind of this fat uncle that like likes to like play music and eat food, and he's trying to help.
He drops that sandal. And you're like, oh shit.
He's like, okay, this dude's a little smart, and then they battle the fucking earthbending troops, and he's like badass as fuck, and you're like, all right, like, this dude's fucking sick. Love Iroh so much. I'm gonna make this reference already because like I have to. Iroh, amazing in every way possible. Definitely, yep, definitely.
You would fuck Iroh.
Iroh after he gets out of prison.
Okay, that's peak Iroh though. I'm talking
Bat
like,
Iroh? Nah.
Yeah. Like fifth day straight working at the fucking tea house, Iroh. Dirty ass Iroh. Homeless Iroh.
But Iroh is a war criminal. We just need to put that out there because he is. But like, this is the thing. There's an amazing meme online about Iroh, and it's like, he's the best guy around. What about all those people in what murder? And that's every Avatar fan's relationship with Iroh. He's like, okay, we know that you killed a bunch of people because you were a general in the Fire Nation army that tried to capture Ba Sing Se. We also know that you helped aid a bunch of other battles and such. So you definitely were bad. But we weren't introduced to you when you were bad. So, like, honestly, like, it's fine. Because
do we know that he killed civilians? Like, was he necessarily a war criminal, or was he just a good commander?
I don't know. Like, we hear him talk about... Like, he writes his letter to Azula and Zuko, and he's like, haha, I can't wait to burn this city to the ground. So, like, you gotta think that he's been doing some sort of shit like that in other places.
I guess that's fair.
So, anyway. Love Iroh. We see that he's badass as fuck. We also find out that Zuko can kind of fight, because he kind of gets schooled most of the time before this. And then he, like, takes on those earthbending troops, and he kind of, like, pops off with Iroh. It's like, alright. These dudes are our vibe. We get it. We like it. And then, of course, we tell you to watch the second one, which is The Winter Solstice 2, which is episode 8, because it concludes that whole episode, and, you know, Aang now needs to escape, or not escape, needs to, like, bring Sokka back. And I think they actually know. In the second episode, they, like, go to the, whatever.
Yeah, he gets him back at the end of the first part, right? Yeah. And then, they go to the Fire Temple.
They go to the Fire Temple, and then you see Aang escape with being Roku, which is fucking sick.
Also, I didn't know this until just now because I looked up a season list, but this episode came out on my 9th birthday.
Wow!
Little fatty Nick.
We also get more accurately introduced to Admiral Zhao in episode 8. So it'd be like, okay, they like let Zuko go because of the smoke, and we're like, okay, maybe Admiral Zhao is like kind of smart and like kind of on top of it. But then, you know, we realize differently as we move on. But you're like, okay, like we're watching, you know, sideburns here. We feel it. So the next episode that we tell you to watch is episode 13. So there's a lot to skip, and I would like to express why there's a lot to skip, because episode 9 is the waterbending scroll, which is where Katara is all like, Aang knows how to waterbend and I don't, and he's the worst because he makes me feel insecure. And then she keeps the waterbending scroll, and then she's practicing it, and then that gets her captured, and then it gets other people captured, and it's just like, okay. Like, listen. You're, what, 13, 14? Like, we get it, all right? You're a teenage kid that made a decision. Like, I would have made the decision, maybe. I would be insecure. I'm insecure now, all right? But, like, you don't grow as a character. So you suck in this moment, but you also suck later in the same ways. So it's just like, we don't need to keep watching you suck. So we're going to skip over season 1 where it's like, oh, we're going to give you some grace because, like, oh, you could be better and grow as a person, but you don't. So we're going to skip you now because you're insecure and do stupid shit to affect other people because you feel bad about yourself. And then you're going to do that later anyway, so we're going to skip this episode.
Also, did your mom get killed by the Fire Nation or something?
My mother used to breathe. The memes about that are so great, where it's like, oh, would you like a glass of water? Katara, my mother used to drink water. And then the next episode after that is Jet. So good character development for Sokka in that episode, because he's like, I'm not vibing with this dude. I don't think he's good. I don't like this guy. And he like saves a bunch of Fire Nation civilians from being killed. But we watch Aang be ignorant for like, which is a common theme for him, by the way, where he's just like, haha, this person's giving me compliments. He's fine. And then we watch Katara be like, oh my gosh, this person is doing things to my body.
My tiny tingles. Fucking Jet's waterbending in a different way.
Jet and his freedom fighters, like, some good characters there. Longshot, really cool dude, doesn't talk, which I think is great. Smeller Bee, all those people, like, all good. But just like, if you watched it before, you're like, you know what happens. It's fine. You don't need to watch this. Then you watch maybe one of the worst episodes of all time,
Well,
which is the great. Oh, good call. You skip this one, and I'm going to tell you right now. Everyone, you can skip this episode even if this is your first time watching it. Okay? Because
no.
Yes.
No.
What happens in the Great Divide? What happens in episode 11? Fuck, it's a filler episode. You can listen to Nick. People have opinions, okay?
I think we said it before, right? If it's the first time watching it, you should watch every episode. I can understand why you never want to watch this episode again, but I don't know if we say never watch this episode.
I mean, like, fair enough, but, like, listen, everybody. This episode gives you almost nothing.
It is filler.
And the reason that I hated this episode, why I hate this episode so much, is because I would come back from school and I didn't want to do homework first thing once I got back from school. So I'd always watch like about an hour of TV when I would come back. And Nickelodeon would generally play Avatar episodes when I would be back from school, which was great. Like, this is in middle and high school. And the Great Divide usurped about 80% of the airtime of what episodes I could watch of Avatar when I came home. So I ended up watching shows like Friends as a fucking 8th grader, okay? Because I didn't want to watch The Great Divide. Because that was what was fucking on all the time. It was the worst shit. It was like, put something else on this channel.
Fuck, we did skip a lot though. Holy shit. Next one's
like,
13. Yeah, I guess the storm's just kind of.
I think the storm is you watch Aang, you find out about why Aang ran away.
Yeah.
From like being the Avatar and why he was in an iceberg. Like, kind of, it is important.
Again.
It isn't. Yep, true. It is important for you to watch as a first time viewer because there's backstory. But as regular viewers, as an eighth time viewer or more, honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't need to watch that because you just watch Aang be all sad and you watch Sokka be an idiot because he's like, I'm gonna make money. I'm gonna go out to the storm with this guy. And the boat like captain's wife is like, I can feel it in my bones, there's a storm. Okay.
Cool.
Anyway. Yeah, and Katara sucks, and you're just like, okay. Like, you're not gaining anything as watching this again for you as the, like, 8th time viewer. If you haven't watched it before, there's good backstory. You understand why Aang ran away, and why he feels guilty, and why he doesn't want to be the Avatar, and all this other shit. But episode 13 is fucking amazing because you get introduced to Zuko as in his alter ego, which is the blue spirit, which is badass as fuck. It is so fucking cool. Like, you see, like, Aang gets captured because he's trying to, like, help Sokka and Katara who are sick, and he's trying to get these frogs to suck on them. And it's amazing because you also meet this crazy old woman who's like trying to feed her cat, and Aang's like, I'm gonna take this medicine. She's like, what are you doing? This is my cat's food. You're just gonna give him these frogs to suck on him. Incredible scene, amazing writing from the team there. And he gets captured by Zhao, but then you see Zuko be like, I can't let Zhao have the Avatar. Like, it's for my honor. But you see him, like, be badass as fuck. He's like, I don't even need firebending, bro. I got dual swords. I'm a stud. And it's just, honestly, it's just an A+ episode because it's cool as shit. And that's it.
Except for Aang being captured by fucking archers.
Okay, but, like, kind of badass.
They're badass archers. But they're archers.
Yeah, but this is still early Aang. He doesn't know all this stuff yet. Like,
yeah.
Earthbending Aang is not getting captured by these archers, bro. Like,
that's fair. Also, holy fuck, Nickelodeon just like blue balls us for over a month. No, 2 months. So
yeah,
I'm looking at when it came
June
out.
and then September.
September, fuck.
And then they come out with the fucking fortune teller as the next episode, where you're just like, can your science explain why it rains? Yes, it can, you fucking dolt. Like, oh, dude, I empathize with Sokka so much in the fortune teller episode, where he's just like, they're all like, haha, I'm just gonna listen to this fortune teller. I'm not gonna, like, do anything. I'm brainwashed. Like, bro, that's literally what our country is like.
But we don't think you need to watch it, right?
Correct. We don't. We do not watch the fortune teller
15
episode.
Was the last one.
Save your, yes, that's what I have to. Save yourself. Okay.
Oh, Bato, though.
Yep.
Fair
episode
enough.
15, Bato. So, important episode for a couple reasons, in my opinion. One is that you see Aang do something where he's, like, nervous about losing his friends, and so he does something that's not very good, where he, like, hides the location of Sokka and Katara's dad so that they don't leave him. And you see, like, insecurity in Aang, really, for, like, not for being the Avatar, which we have seen, but for, like, interpersonal for the first time. But you also get to meet Bato, and it does a great job world building, and you get to, like, connect the Water Tribe kind of culture and background and all this other shit, which, like, makes it very empowering to, like, learn that stuff, and, like, gives you so much information. And we also meet June, which is she's so fucking cool. Her and her sheer shoe. Are you getting that? If I'm remembering that correctly. that like smells scents to like capture things. Also, Iroh being pervy, and you're like, ha ha, that's funny. He's not being a perv. He's just funny. We're just letting that slide because Iroh's the man.
He is, though.
I mean, he is. He is.
Yeah.
No argument. Definitely kind of sketchy that he does some stuff, but you're like, we hold everybody else to a higher standard. Iroh's fine, you know.
Exactly. And then the deserter.
Oh, because we meet John. God, dude, I wish he had more. I wish he had more as a character because for me, he's so fucking cool. I love him as a character, and I wanted him to have way more airtime than he got. Like, if they were gonna make a spin-off, I want it to be of Zhang leaving the Fire Nation army because he's so fucking cool. Anyway, why this episode's important? One, Aang is gonna try and learn firebending, even though he's certainly not ready to learn firebending. Two, we see Aang do something that actually affects his friends in a negative way, i.e. burning Katara's hands. Three, we learn that Katara can heal people. That's important information to know. And four, we get to meet Zhang, who's super sick and dope and really cool. And five, we see Aang like pull it together at the end and beat Zhao without having to like throw any fights at all, which is really cool. Only annoying. This is an annoying point for me from this episode, but it's like because of Aang as a character and it moves through. He's just like, which later plays into like why he chooses Zuko to like be his firebending teacher. But regardless, where he's just like, I'm never gonna firebend again, and it's just like, okay, like you're being dramatic, okay, like let's tighten up, all right, like you're the fucking Avatar, bro. You're gonna have to firebend. I'm a dramatic person, as you've probably gathered from the listening to these podcasts and my general expression as a person. If I think you're being dramatic, that's where it's like, okay, you're like clearly you're over the line. Like, I'm all for drama. I'll be here for you. If you're a dramatic person, I'm like, bitch, I know. Me too. If you're being to a point of dramatic that's like over the line where I'm calling you dramatic, it's like, all right, let's rein it in. All right, like, tighten up, clean it up. And him being like, I'm never gonna firebend again. Like, all right, like, shut the fuck up.
He's just sipping over Katara. That's all that is. I heard her. She's not gonna touch my pee-pee.
Okay, side point here. A very important side point. Sokka, like, Aang aside, because he's a fucking monk, so we don't know fully. I mean, he's into Katara, but like,
yeah,
Sokka is at like the prime hormone age throughout this entire period. Do you think he's jerking off? Like, like is he doing it in secret?
Better question. Do you think Momo is watching? He's just like. Do you think the episode where he's trimming balls and he's talking to Momo is the first time he's talked to Momo? Do you think Sokka's jerked off on the back of Appa? Like not like not onto, but do you think he's like been napping and woke up from a nap while he's sleeping on Appa and he's just like, I'm gonna rub one out right now? I think the answer is yes. I mean, let's be honest. Oh. Northern Air
Okay.
Temple.
The Northern Air Temple. Okay, so this is an important episode because we are meeting the Mechanist. I think that's what his name is, and that's like one important in a couple ways. One, it gives the Fire Nation the idea for the blimps. Two, we meet the Mechanist, who's an important character in a later series, like portion of the show. And three, we see Aang like grow as a character and have some character development, being like these people who have taken over, this air temple, who aren't air nomads, like, is something that I struggled with, but I can accept at the end of the episode. Which I think is like shows him growing as an avatar as well. Like he's having to face something that's like emotionally triggering for him because he's like, you guys are defiling this air temple, and my people and my past, but like you're also creating something new out of something that was lost. Kind of feeding into that cycle of like death and rebirth. So very important episode for sure. Okay. We skipped the waterbending master episode, which is next because Paku is just like, hey, what's up? I'm a misogynistic douchebag. I don't teach women anything because they're meant to go and heal people. So why don't you go fuck off and make me a sandwich? And like, as a first time viewer, it's important to watch Paku be a total dickhead. Like, all right, like I get it. Like now I know some stuff about him. And like the revelations later about him being like with Sokka and Katara's grandma, but then leaving, or she left him and the tribe because she didn't like the misogynistic bullshit that she was going through. And then him being like, oh, maybe I should change my ways and whatever. Like, that's important to watch as a first time viewer. As people who have watched the show before, you don't really need to sit through the fact that this guy sucks for like a whole episode. And he's like, you've defiled me and my people, and I'm never going to teach you anything to the Avatar. And it's like, all right, bro, like you literally are the worst. So why don't you suck a dick?
And you also get to skip over Sokka being awkward as fuck with Yue. But
Ooh,
yeah,
good call out. Good call out. And he has some good lines in there. He's like, I grew up in a block of ice. I wouldn't exactly call it a cultural hub.
He's too busy playing with his cultural hub.
Right, dude.
But then we had the last two episodes.
Which is the Siege of the North. Like,
makes sense.
Zhao is like, I'm going to invade the water tribe, the northern water tribe, and I'm going to take it over. I'm also going to kill the moon spirit. And we see, like, this is like redeeming moments, number one for Iroh, because like obviously we've been seeing him give good advice to Zuko, and you're like, oh, he's so loving and caring and like wants his nephew to be okay. But he's like, okay, like I might be on the Fire Nation side, but like we're drawing the line here. We're not gonna fucking kill the moon spirit. All right, like I will fucking fight you on this. So, like, pop off, Iroh. We love that. We also see Katara in this period, like now that Paku's not a total asshole, be like a badass as a waterbender, like the only thing she grows as in the entire show. But that's good and that's cool. And then Aang also like pops off and becomes like, uses his catfish fucking like avatar state and like just annihilates the firebending troops. And Yue becomes the moon because Zhao does kill the moon spirit because he's a piece of shit. And then Yue's like, I was given life by the moon spirit, and she like touches the fish, like gives her life to it, and like then Sokka can be like, my first girlfriend turned into the moon, and then Zuko can be like, that's rough, buddy. You know?
Do you think Sokka ever jerks off to the moon?
It just stares at it, he's just like, oh,
it's like, what's up, Yue? I see you.
You know when he's talking to Suki and like the Serpent's Pass episode, which we'll get to, and he's just, like they're under like this giant full moon, and he's like talking to Suki like, I have feelings for you, and Yue's just sitting up there as the moon, being like, what the fuck, you douche,
bitch.
But overall, like it just has a lot of like importance because it's like, okay, we have fight scenes, we have character development scenes, we have redeeming quality scenes, we have Zhao getting killed by the spirits, like all this shit's fucking great. Like this is A+ content to watch. Okay, I don't know how long we've been doing this for almost 50 minutes. So we're about to be here for fucking ever. Because like I'm not stopping. I'm fucking drunk right now. So I'm talking until this is done.